lecture on daily news analysis, 22nd January 2021. Before I move on to the video, I would like to give you a few tips which will help you better your preparations. First and foremost, when you're reading the newspaper, also try to write few questions related to mains. So there are various platforms on which questions are asked or questions are posed based on daily news articles. I personally refer to Insight Secure. So you can have other platforms like IAS, Baba, TLP. So please do make it a point that you write at least 2 mains questions every day. So those who are preparing for 2021, I know this is a very crucial time for you to prepare for both mains and prelims simultaneously. So after few months, I know your complete dedication will be on prelims. So have the practice of answer writing. This is first. Secondly, I would also request you to solve at least 5 to 10 prelims questions every day. You can source it from a variety of platforms because there are various channels or websites which give past year question papers or new questions, prelims questions. Please make it a point that you solve at least 5 to 10. With that, I move on to the newspaper discussion. So first and foremost, I urge you to read the newspaper and then come and listen to the daily news analysis, because what I've told you is I will help you guide to read the newspaper. I will not spoon feed, because we are all UPSC aspirants and I know that we have come to a stage where spoon feeding is not necessary, but we are to be taught on how to take the crux of the matter. So starting with the editorial, so every Friday we have a very important discussion column that is being put out in the Hindu paper editorial. This time it was about judicial activism. Are courts encroaching on the power of executive? So this is an interesting read. Whenever you come across such articles, please try to build arguments for and against it. So this question, when I read the article, I identified it with the syllabus GS2, Judiciary, and the question after I framed reading the article was Judicial Activism comment. There are points for it and against it. So if you see the article, it starts with something like farm laws, which the intervention of courts and the controversy regarding courts' intervention in the farm laws. So it says that the court has intervened even without being asked is the first point that is being made. Second and foremost, if you see this paragraph, it talks about how court in the past has abstained from negotiating or exercising its judicial power over important legislations like abrogation of Article 370, Citizenship Amendment Act, so on and so forth. And here this point, the article talks about how court has absolved from its power and acting in the absorption of the executive. It is following the executive directive. So here I've identified one of the best practices. So these are value additions to your answers, where when you are giving suggestions or when you are concluding, you can also give best practices that is taking place in other states or other countries. Here it talks about the example of South Africa, where the executive or if the parliament or the judiciary are in a tussle, then the constitution itself provides a mechanism for filling the legal vacuum. So if you're unable to see, I will blow it up and show. The constitution itself provides to fill in the legal vacuum. So these are the points that I've identified from the article. And here is judicial activism. So all the entire content talks about how judicial activism is harmful for the democracy. Here there is one point about Navtej Johar case. So this is a very famous case for those who do not know about it. It is when the court finally decriminalized same-sex relationship. So this was an issue, a contentious issues that could not be taken up in the legislature owing to the minority opinion about it. But the court was able to do it because of its power. So this is one argument for judicial activism. Other arguments are against judicial activism. This is how you analyze the article. So also take a note of the best practices. So I will also demonstrate how I have taken notes from it. As I've told you, it is GS2 topic coming under judiciary part. You can read the judiciary I've taken. Rather than deliberating on the constitutionality of the law, the court is moving for political settlements is the question. Issues, these are the issues that I've identified from the article. Court has stayed the law based on constitutional or legal grounds. So usually court stays the law based on constitutional or legal grounds, but you know that the ongoing farm law has been stayed by the court based on inviting the farmers to the negotiating table. There is no substantial proof that or substantial argument given in favor for this. There should be a legal ground and not a opinionated ground like this. Looking at administrative concerns rather than legal, inaction in important laws like Article 370, acting according to executive motive, departure from parliamentary sovereignty. Parliamentary sovereignty is the absolute power that the parliament has got to make legislations, and parliament only has the power to add, delete provisions and even stay. But now the court has gone beyond its jurisdiction and stayed the laws made by the parliament. What are the positive role? So these two positive roles I've identified from the article. If judicial activism is contributing to the democracy, you can give these two examples of how. In the beginning, Article 356, which is pertaining to President's rule, was initially not under judicial review, but in S.R. Bommai case, it came under judicial review. So though there is no absolute power for declaring President's rule, it is subjected to judicial review. Second is decriminalizing same-sex relation in the Navtej Johar case, and as I've pointed out, the best practices in South Africa. This I have given to demonstrate how I have taken note of this particular passage. You can apply the same principles in other editorials as well. A case to dispose the mercy petition swiftly. So if you read this article, it was pertaining to, do we need to relook our decision on capital punishment, and what is the state of capital punishment world over. This argument presented by the writer, it says that it is inhuman for capital punishment, or it is dehumanizing people. So it also points out that there are only 56 nations in the world that have retained death penalty, and 142 countries have abolished it, and India is one among the country which is still having a capital punishment. And it also talks about how India had a review of its decision, sent its recommendations to the states and asked for its opinion, but very few states were in favor of abolishing death punishment. Privacy and surveillance. So data localization is not the only approach towards protecting data privacy. Step 1, I've identified it as GS3, Science and Technology, pertaining to information technology. Step 2, I've read the article, identified the key points. So see, there are certain technical data related to technical data also given in the report, talking about Sri Krishna Committee and Europe's general data protection regulation. If you do not know what is it, please go type General Data Protection Regulation, UPSC. Whatever is given in the first 4 lines, try to read it and understand it. So if I have to give a crux of what is GDPR, it is the data regulation protection of European Union, and Sri Krishna Committee was constituted to frame a bill on personal data protection. It classified data into 3 types: sensitive personal data, critical personal data, and general personal data, and each of it had various degrees of privacy provisions. For example, the sensitive data will have to be mirrored in India. That is, a copy of the sensitive data will have to be stored in India, and critical data will have to be completely stored in India. So these are some of the provisions. You can go and read it. So this is a very contentious issues and a hot topic. So read about it. What is WhatsApp's recent privacy policy, and why it is causing a backlash is some of the other things that you can note from mains point of view. Getting it wrong on India's level of agriculture support. So this article was basically based on OECD's report, which says that Indian agriculture is getting extremely low or negative support. So this argument is written by WTO experts, and they've told that this is not true because the methodology employed by OECD is not true, is not applicable in the case of India. You can give it a general read. I would not. This is not of much relevance to your answer, but it can enhance or broaden your perspective about agriculture and agriculture support prices. Defending liberty against political prosecution. This again widens your perspective on judiciary. What are the limitations on judiciary? This article talks about it, and not much to read about for the mains point of view, but this also you can give a glance. You can give a glance or do a fast reading of this article. At least 32 killed in Baghdad bombing. Iraq. So Baghdad is the capital city of Iraq, and as I told you in yesterday's video, that West Asia is always a contention issues, and it's always recurring in the news. And these places of conflict also have been asked in prelims. So in 2017, there was a question which gave 2 columns: cities of conflict, and the cities where the country where the cities were located. So there might be a question where is Bab al-Shariki located? It is in Iraq. So noted for prelims. We have not functionally changed privacy policy. So this is again related to the recent change in WhatsApp privacy policy and the backlash against it. Read it for general understanding. GDP within striking distance of growth. Success of vaccination drive can tilt balance of risks upward, says RBI official in article on economy. You will have to know this trend of economic growth for both GS3 as well as prelims. So if you understand what type of questions are asked on economy, in the prelims point of view, it is basically very conceptual questions. You need to understand what are the basic terminologies, what are the effects or aftermath of economic growth, GDP, revenue deficit, fiscal trend, what are the trends of growth, whether it is increasing, decreasing. These are the types of questions being asked in economy in prelims. Whereas in mains, you will have more application oriented questions. So based on disinvestments, FDI policy. So and the tilt will be based on application of the current affairs part, and in prelims it is going to be conceptual past. So this will help you to answer conceptual questions in prelims, these articles. Give it a general read, and you will always have this in your back of your mind when you answer questions. So on every Friday we have this special article on culture. Please do give it a read, because art and culture is one untouched area among many aspirants, and it also an easy scoring area, because question when it comes from art and culture, it is definitely going to be easy and it is definitely approachable. But most of us, since we do not prefer reading art and culture or skipping that part, we might be losing out on the 1 or 2 marks, and you all know that 1 or 2 questions also are important in our ranking. So this article, which I found in culture part, the master's distinct touch, it argues about a cultural form called Kudiyattam. Kudiyattam is a UNESCO intangible heritage listed under Kerala, under the state of Kerala. You can note this for prelims. What is Kudiyattam? What is it? Is it UNESCO intangible heritage site on intangible heritage element or not? So you can read the article. And yeah, with this we come to the end of the analysis. So current affairs for prelims, as I told you, you have to take 2 sets of notes, one for prelims, one for mains. This is for prelims. Here I found an article which talked about CoWIN platform. CoWIN platform is a software that was created for the administration of Covaxin. Then again, I have taken a note of the city that was mentioned in the editorial, Iraq, Bab al-Shariki, then Sri Krishna Committee. So do like the video, subscribe, share, and if you have any questions, do let me know in the comments below. I will definitely be taking up questions in the next session. Thank you.